Welcome, Veritas family. Thank you so much for joining us today here at Give and Take. I am Sherry Davis, and I am here today with our president, Dr. Mike Lester. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Sherry, thanks for having me on your give and take today.
Yeah, we are thrilled to have you. Again, we're just starting our fall 2025 terms, our second week in, and so we are excited for momentum and energy as we are launching into our fall term here. Mike, before we get anywhere, if you are watching live or in replay, be sure to tell us where you're watching from. That way we know where everybody is. Let's go ahead and dive in with Ministry Matters with Dr. Lester. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what your position here at Veritas, and jump into what you have on your heart today.
Yeah, sure. Hey, so if you are not familiar with sort of my story, I grew up in Georgia, very rural area. I never went to summer camps. I didn't know Christian colleges even existed. We lived in it was literally a small country church, whatever stereotype that brings to mind. My dad was a pastor. My granddad was a pastor. Great granddad was a pastor as well. But when I was 16 years old, God began to stir my heart about serving Him in more of a vocational way. And so I began to share that story. My parents had moved me to a Christian school my 11th and 12th grade year. And so as I began to share that story about what I felt like God was doing, well, first of all, as soon as I announced that to my church, my dad had me preach the very next Sunday. That's how quickly we did things there. So I stood up on a Sunday night. My dad said, "Well, come back next week as Mike preaches his first sermon." And so that's how it started for me. And then as I began to tell that story, one of my teachers from the Christian school was he began to encourage me about, studying to be a servant of God, to be a better preacher. And I really thought he was saying I could go to like the University of Georgia and study religion.
Hmm.
And I look back now and I wonder if he ever thought I was being just a snarky, sarcastic kid with that comment. And it's like, but it seemed like he understood what I was saying. And so he began to explain to me that there was these things called Bible colleges, which is it's so ironic because now I'm the president of one. But
Yeah.
that's he helped lead us in a direction. And I went off to Bible college a year after high school. I set out a year, and then I graduated in 3 years. I met my wife there. She was from Michigan. We set up house in Georgia, lived there 5 months, and then I got a phone call that really changed everything in our life. We ended up serving the Lord for 26 and a half years in California
Hmm.
at Lancaster Baptist Church and at West Coast Baptist College. And then through a series of just the way the Lord was working on our lives, we felt there was a time to move on. And then that was sort of the platform, the incident that God used to move me to Veritas. So I moved here in 2021. 2022, I took over as the president, and just I'm enjoying watching God work. So that's sort of the story, I guess.
While you're
Anything you want
parked
to tease out of
there,
there?
yeah. While you're parked there, we've got Denny from Antigua on, Alyssa Sultanic here in Virginia. We've got Matt Goins in Honduras, Gabe Bell jumping in from Ladysmith, Virginia. Thank you guys for popping in.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm always amazed at the way God allows us to interact with people here at Veritas. I love the fact we are online. I love the fact that our students are worldwide. I am
Mhm,
super encouraged for the students God has brought to us this fall.
mhm. Amen.
We're having a record enrollment, and it's just really all I can say is the words of the psalmist. This is the Lord's doing. It's marvelous in our eyes. Really, just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's been fun as a team to kind of watch those numbers roll in and what those numbers represent our lives and people that we get to influence and are excited to partner with. So it's been fun on this end of things to watch those kind of come through.
Now you mentioned you enjoy your guest having sort of a ministry matter moment. So I wanted to share just a little bit about what God's been doing, just sort of on my heart a little bit in these last probably I guess 6 months or so. I really so we've started an outreach here at our church, an opportunity for people to connect. So We have a church that's a decent size. It really is a good number of growing believers here in New England, which is it's just a spirit of revival. But with a larger church, I'm amazed we really only have six Sunday school rooms or six adult fellowship rooms or six Bible study rooms, whatever terminology you use at your church. And so it's just not enough places for people to connect. So we've started reaching out with home groups, home Bible studies. And as I've enjoyed getting in that really the last 6 months, one of the things that has really come back alive to me is the importance of community.
Mm.
And if you follow me on the podcasting world, really the theme of this quarter on my podcast is this theme of relational discipleship. And so I don't know, I'll stop there for a minute, let you maybe ask some questions, but that's sort of where I'm taking this conversation.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm excited for that topic because I think it really is on a lot of our hearts, especially in our on our team. We talk about this a lot. Jen Lester in Connecticut. Hey, Jen, thanks for popping in. Gabe Bell says he's on his lunch
I kn-
break, actually.
I know her.
Welcome. Yeah, we're glad. Hey, anybody on their lunch break? Anybody taking a coffee break? Jump in, pop in, tell us where you're watching from. So yeah, we're excited to hear what you got.
So I've always understood the importance of the Great Commission. You know, we are to take the gospel, we're to preach it to everyone, and then we're to make disciples. And so, in the early years of ministry, one of the things I was tasked to do by the senior pastor was to create a discipleship curriculum. 20 lessons. It had a great cover. I had this original title to it. It was called Discipleship. That was the title to it. And so that's how we got started. And then that book went through several iterations. It became Journey. Then it became Daily in the Word. And today it's published as with the title Continue. And so that was one of the projects I was involved in developing this curriculum. And it's, it was really, really strong content, biblical content. But here's what I sort of, as I look back and sort of observe the process, it was let's take people through a series of lessons for 3 months, whatever, and then let's give them a certificate, and then let's move on to the next person, sort of like this, a conveyor belt type thing. The downside to that, or the negative, is when I look at the model in the New Testament, Jesus didn't have a curriculum.
Mm.
Paul didn't have a curriculum. The apostles didn't have a printed up curriculum where they sat down and said, all right, lesson time for the next hour. We'll work through our material together. It
Mm.
just, it happened organically. It happened relationally.
Mhm.
It happened in the context of community.
Yeah.
And so as I've sort of thought about that, one of the things I'm passionate about at the moment is just the power of lives changing lives, not the power of a curriculum changing lives. We need the content. You don't just sit and talk about nothing, but the idea of it being relational, organic, embedded in a community. I've enjoyed watching the way the Lord transforms lives that way.
Yeah, and that's such a good point that you bring up because it's been impressed upon me more recently. My kids are young, 11 and 7, and this idea of discipleship, sometimes it can be, you feel like it should be external. It should be and it is. It has its place there, but I have been burdened about discipling intentionally in my own home. The idea that they're in my home and I am responsible for them and conveying biblical information. We're in the grocery store, we're riding in the car, we're at home, we're having moments of conflict, and we're trying to work
Yeah,
through these things. And I love the idea of it not abandoning curriculum, but not being held hostage to it,
yeah,
where
yeah,
you can just organically, as it comes up, like, hey, look, this is how this is going to play out. And if the Lord, this is what the scripture says about this, and when you get into a situation at school, you're going to want to use these principles and things like that. And it's been really helpful to view
yeah.
it in that way. We've got Kelvin Ivory watching from Colorado. Thanks for popping in, Kelvin.
I think about the standpoint of how words take on sort of a definition of their own. And so for me, discipleship became synonymous with a class.
Mm,
It became synonymous with a curriculum. It became just a process from moving people to become a leader in the church, and then we come back, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
But when I changed the terminology to instead of discipleship to a disciple is an apprentice.
Mm.
Disciple is someone who is being mentored and taken under the wing and sort of had more of that picture. It just sort of gave a refresh. It sort of took the stereotype of a group of people sitting down and taking notes and, for a test, like a college class, to, man, this is what I need for life. And I don't want to lose that. So the power of relationships, which is, why probably why our parents taught us when we were growing up, choose your friends wisely, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a certain power that comes with an iron sharpening iron relationship. So yeah, this is something that I'm just fleshing out right now in just ministry context as I lead. In our home church here, I help lead the development of our small groups, our adult classes, and I don't want it to just be so content driven that we miss the ability for life to change life, because that's what we do at Veritas, right? We're training people for ministry because we believe that the gospel changes us from the inside out. But it's not just the gospel.
And
God
you would
uses
you
human
would
instruments.
agree that the challenge with this approach to discipleship and mentorship is literally time. Like
Yeah,
probably the reason more don't do it, and it's not because they don't want to or don't see the value in it. It's just because it is so organic, and because it happens at random times. You have to be intentional about creating the time to be with that individual, to be around other people in which they would glean from your influence. And I think
sure.
about that sometimes.
But in the context of the home, like you just mentioned,
Yeah,
you may not, a lot of parents may not view this as discipling,
that's right.
but if they understand that they are organically, relationally instilling into someone a biblical worldview,
Mhm.
uh, I don't care if they use the word disciple or not. That's what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah,
And that was helpful for me to make that switch, like I said before, because it feels like, oh man, I don't have this person that I'm necessarily intentionally mentoring. And I think sometimes it's maybe a little bit difficult, well, for men and women, but for women in particular you've got the kids. And I encourage young ladies, I'm like, get with a lady in your church. If she's going to the grocery store with her 4 kids, go with her. If she's got, she can use your help, you can learn from her, you can help her, she can help you. Find that person that you can really learn from. But it was definitely in my mind, an intentional switch to think, okay, I am discipling and I want to be more intentional about doing that. So that's super
yeah.
helpful that you bring that up.
And it looks differently in different phases of ministry. For 25 years or so, my wife Jen and I, we led a singles class, and we had different age groups along those 25 years. Sometimes we were at 18 to 24, sometimes at 24 to 32-ish, and sometimes we had 35 and up. We were in different segments of that society, but often there were just groups of singles in our home,
Hmm.
and there were groups we took out to a restaurant. And what we were trying to do, we didn't know how to articulate it. We maybe didn't have the vocabulary for it,
Hmm.
but really what we were trying to do is our life impacting their lives impacting our lives,
Yeah.
modeling Christian life in front of them. And then, now, I don't have a singles class per se. My time is used a little bit differently. So now I find myself pouring into and investing in and mentoring leaders that will in turn go and do the same for the people that God brings into their sphere of influence. But I always want to be investing in people.
Yeah, that's good. Tell us where people can catch your podcast. What's the
Sure.
name?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have this really, really original name. It's called Worldview with J. Michael Lester. And so
Very good.
it's really just worldview issues. And so in discipleship, we are dealing with worldview issues because we're
Yeah.
training people to think biblically. And so
Right.
that's what I'm covering this year in it.
Perfect. And they can find that wherever podcasts are.
Wherever podcasts are found, yeah, yeah, all the
Perfect.
main streaming platforms. It also is there this season. They're video casts, so they're also available on YouTube as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, very
Yeah,
good. Okay, tell us what tip or resource you brought for the community today.
yeah. I have just normally I have maybe one tip or something, but this time I actually brought a couple of different book titles. And so maybe I can send them to you after I go through them, and you can put them in the notes or something like
Yeah.
that. But
Yep. I'll stick them in the
if you
comments.
don't have, if people don't have the ability to write down right now because they're in their car listening or whatever, I want people to be safe as I get these resources. All right. So a
As a
couple book
disclaimer, we
titles.
always want you to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
safe.
Disclaimer number one: Veritas is for your safety. All right. Number one was this is more of a spiritual book, more of a biblical or Christian setting book. The first one is Relational Leadership. It's the subtitle is A Biblical Model for Leadership Service. It's written by a guy named Walter Wright, Wright, but it really it resonates with some of the things that I have been working through right now with the concept of just being more relational. So watch this. Some leaders are agenda driven. I've got
Yeah.
to get the task done. I've got to get the task done. I've got to get this done. Some are vision driven. I've got to keep casting the vision, keep casting the vision. But the impact of this book is no, we're not leading agendas, we're leading people. And so the people aren't there to develop our agenda. The agenda given to us by God is to develop the people. And so it resonates with me. And then as I
Lisa
begin, yeah, go
Joyner
ahead.
popped in, watching from North Carolina. Also, Gabe Bell looks like he posted the link to your podcast. Thanks, Gabe. Thanks for doing that.
Hey, Gabe, shout out. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And then as I begin to think about that concept of relational leadership, relational discipleship, just the equity that comes from just relationships, God honoring relationships, I begin to see that this is fleshed out not just in biblical settings. And so the next few books are more of secular or maybe organizational leadership books, but this same principle is at the baseline. It just fascinated me. So here's one, Servant Leadership. And this is by the guru of servant leadership, Robert Greenleaf. And then number three, this one most people have heard of, but maybe they don't think of it in this context. Leaders Eat Last by
Mm,
Simon Sinek. And what he's getting at in that book is the importance of not the leader being first, not at all being about the leader or the leader's agenda, but the power of relationships and developing your teams. This one, Cher, I think you have read this one. I think we've talked about this one. I know you've read some of his books, but The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by
yeah.
Patrick Lencioni.
Leone. Yeah.
And so Lencioni, he writes a lot of organizational books, but he has sort of a Christian worldview. And so most of his books has this first half of the book is sort of a fable, and then he fleshes out the principles at the end of it. But in these dysfunctional teams, he notes the absence of genuine, authentic, trusting relationships. Here's one by John Maxwell, who's a Christian. In fact, he was a pastor in San Diego before he really just followed the Lord and just developing leaders. But his book is Everyone Communicates, You Connect. That was a great title
Mm,
because I know that as ministry leaders, we communicate every day of our life. But if we don't connect, then we're actually minimizing the influence we can have with what the Lord's given to us. And so connecting is that idea of relation. And then here's the last one I want to share. This one is a book entitled Boom, Boom, Leadership That Breaks Barriers, Challenges Conventions, and Ignites Innovation. And this book was written by Brigadier General John, codename Dragon, Tykert. And John is just a personal friend of mine. I met him
Hey,
when I
real
was in
quick before you
California.
get
Yeah,
dive into that one, Anne is watching from Kentucky, and Lisa Joyner says she loves Lencioni's books. Really easy reads. I like the
yeah,
motive. Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
loves
yeah.
that.
Really good. His book, The Advantage. We've used his book also. Just he has a book that deals with how people are shaped for leadership. Just some good stuff there.
Yeah, great.
John's book. I met John when I was in California. John, three different times, he's Air Force, three different times he was stationed out at Edwards Air Force Base in California. The last time he was stationed there, he was the base commander. And I just sort of watched his leadership principles. He revolutionized that base,
Mm,
brought it back to relevancy again. And so it just, it's a, if you enjoy military history and you enjoy leadership in that type of a world, the principles easily transfer into ministry settings. So those are my books I'm bringing.
Interesting. I might have the wrong perspective on this, but sometimes I would think a relational the book from the Brigadier here, the it kind of transforming leadership in military, especially if you're talking about mentoring or connecting relationally, that feels maybe a little foreign. I don't know. It feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe you had a difficult
So this
time.
is why it was so revolutionary.
Mm,
So he believes that change should be empowered from enthusiasm from the ground up, not
mm.
initiatives from the top down.
That's good.
And so he builds a culture that allows people to have a voice. And it's not now it's not just a job, it's an adventure. We're doing
Mm,
something together that's making a difference. And there's just something compelling and motivating when you feel a part of something bigger than you that counts for something.
that's
You're not
right.
just, you're not just punching the clock because you have to pay the bills, but you're actually involved in something. And man, if those of us in ministry don't have that, then we need a heart check because we are
That's
involved
right.
in one of the greatest endeavors that is possible on this earth until Jesus returns. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
really
we've
good.
talked about the fact that those that have passion and purpose are the are good workers. Like even the secular world has done studies on
Yep.
this. And if even the Christian world can't get behind a purpose, then you've got some real things
Yeah,
to
yeah.
work on. Gabe Bell says, agreed. As a veteran, leadership there is typically authoritarian, not relational.
Mhm.
That's powerful.
Yep. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. Hey, Gabe, maybe drop in the notes there what branch you served in. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm just curious what branch you were in. My dad served in Vietnam. My dad was Army. My granddad was Army in Korea. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, always curious where different guys serve. And by the way, thank you for your service.
Yes, very good. Were you through with your ministry matters? I didn't want to cut you off there.
Yeah, yeah. So really, what I really just wanted to just get people thinking about was the power of God honoring relationships, iron sharpening iron relationships. Don't don't trust so much the curriculum as though that's the golden egg,
Mm,
but a life that is surrendered to the Lord, looking for opportunities to invest into others, whether that's our children, a coworker, or someone else God brings apart our way as our next Timothy. Uh, we should always be looking to invest in those people.
I appreciate that recap. Gabe says the branch with a capital THE,
Am I,
USNC.
I thought that was going to be Marines. I thought that's what he was going to say with that lead in. So yeah,
Funny.
yeah, yeah, good.
Well, very good. Thank you so much for bringing that for us today. I know that is a super help, and it really does hit home what we're trying to do, even just in our home, but I know in our team. And I appreciate you bringing that today. I've got a couple of questions for you before we hop off here.
All right,
Um, Tell
making me
us
easy.
if you can, if you have a favorite leadership quote.
Favorite quote. I have two of them. I'm going to give you two quotes. One is by one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson. So Jefferson said, in matters of style, or maybe we would say today, matters of preference, swim with the current.
Hmm,
In matters of principle, stand like a rock.
hmm,
And I love the way he graphically visualizes that.
hmm,
You don't have to stand and have your own way about every single preference. In fact, I think it was Dr. Skelly, our board chairman, who said, as a pastor, if the only thing we do at our church is the things I want to do, then I'm not really a servant leader. And that
hmm.
just it was a powerful statement he made to me. And then the other one is more of a business or philosophical type of a quote. Good leaders build products. Great leaders build cultures.
Hmm.
Good leaders deliver results. Great ones develop people. And so it just helps me stay focused on what God's called me to do. I'm not just, the goal isn't just about let's get people in as a freshman and get them out as a doctor. But really, it's not about us. It's about the people that God is calling to serve Him that we get to partner with, and we want to help develop them for God's glory.
Yeah, those are good quotes. And I'll try to remember to type them out and stick them in the notes here because I think those are good to have like on note cards in different places.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Remembers.
Those little
Okay,
successory pictures we used to see back in the 90s. They had these little successory quotes with a moving picture. We need those again. We need to bring those
yeah,
back.
there you go. Um, is there a meaningful leadership moment that comes to your mind?
Hmm. Define meaningful.
You define meaningful.
Come on, Siri, give me a context. Give me a little hint.
Whatever, if it sticks out in your mind as far as maybe the first time you thought of yourself as a leader, maybe it was a leadership moment that somebody poured into you, maybe it was a moment that you realized, oh wow, I can really be influential in someone else's life.
Yeah, I think maybe the first time that I started to picture that I could help lead people and lead teams probably goes back to a moment in California. We had every fall we had sort of like a high attendance day where we would just really, really work hard to invite people. And I was given charge of a public school, and we had some buses that were going to bring kids there. And I think there were 4 bus routes or something like that. And so we just really we didn't set a number goal. We set a teamwork goal, and we just said we're just going to give God our best, and we'll leave the results to Him. And that first time I did that, we had over 600 kids come to this public school,
Hmm.
and it just sort of lit a fire. It just sparked something. And then I think the next year was like 800, and then the year after that we had 1,200 kids at this site. And I just began to see that the power of vision, the power of maybe processes, but the power of empowering people,
Yeah.
and then the motivation that comes from watching lives change. Because then we would start to see parents who had let their kids ride our bus, they would now be bringing their kids to church. And so there was something compelling about watching lives being changed.
I love that because it is exactly the things that you've brought to our team. The vision, the we always feel a opportunity to bring our voice to the table. We're so thankful for this idea of like, you have a voice, I want to hear it. Let's talk about the vision. Let's talk about the future and how you fit into that picture and how can we make things. So I just appreciate your articulating those things because you've brought that to our team as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, last question. When someone shows appreciation to you, what is an expression of gratitude that means the most?
Disney gift cards.
This is a running theme. I don't know if you were part of the give and take last week, but Anne
No,
said
it
she
wasn't.
wanted Big B gift cards. She said she loves Big B coffee. And don't you know she got a handful of gift cards before the end of the day was over. Isn't that funny?
I joke about the gift cards because I have often had team members read books by the Disney Leadership Institute, and living in California for 25 years in Southern California, we have a lot of memories at Disneyland. We're trying to develop memories at Disney World. We're trying not to be the Disneyland snobs. We're working through that. God's giving us grace, but
Got it.
so we joke about that because Disney had just a good place in our heart as far as family memories. But really, I guess there's just something about a handwritten note
Yeah.
often that just means something. So
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of people on your team with that because it speaks not only to the situation, whatever they were addressing, but the fact that they thought about you, they took time, they sat down and wrote something from the heart. It really does mean a lot. So
yeah, you're probably like me. You can probably tell pretty quickly when something is emailed to you and it's a form, and the only thing changed is your
yeah,
name. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
you
glad
can.
somebody
And
had that you were at least thought of, but there's just something about a personal.
that's right.
It was just with you in mind. So yeah,
That's right. That's exactly right. I normally will at this point address the community, but I might let you do that. If speak to the community if they're sitting out there and they're thinking about jumping into classes, or if they're wanting to partner with us, or just somebody in the community, just do an application for them, and then we'll close it
sure.
out for today.
Yeah. Hey, so let me say first of all, if God is stirring you to serve Him with greater capacity, there'll never be a better time than now. And so, if you're waiting for your life to get less stressful, to be less busy, you will never finish a degree because there's always going to be something to do. And so, it's the proverbial how do you eat an elephant? One
Yeah.
bite at a time. So just take the first class. And if you just take one class at a time, we have 6 terms a year, and you'll make progress. And the goal is just to make progress, not perfection, just progress. And so I would say to that group of people, let's just get started.
Yeah.
To pastors maybe, or ministry leaders who are perhaps watching, we would love to partner with your ministries. And I mean this not in like, what can you do for us? But I mean, what can we, how can we help each other with kingdom impact? And so we have, I don't know, maybe 25 or 30 consistent partners with us that on a regular basis give to us and partner with us and help us with the vision, whether that's helping global ministry leaders around the world be able to afford education, or whether that's helping us develop new free resources at Truth Matters Institute, or whether it's just to try to be a blessing with other things. And so what we do in turn for those ministries is we allow their team, their staff, to pursue their degrees with a 50% discount. And so we love that win-win there. They're helping us, we're helping them, we're investing in each other, and we'd love to partner with people in that way. And I mentioned briefly the Global Ministry Leader Scholarship. I'm excited about where this is developing as we begin to talk to people that they speak English. The language isn't a barrier, but the rate of income they receive in their country, even though we're really well priced because we don't have to pay for dorm, we don't have to pay for all the other overhead. Even though we're really affordable, it's still out of price range for some of those. And so excited for people that are getting a burden to help with that. And so those would be a few things I would just mention. Did I leave a category out, Sherry?
No, 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 you did well. In fact, the only other thing I would say is that let's say you've been out of college for a while, but you need to level up. Maybe you are finished, you finished up your bachelor's and you need to jump into a master's, or you finished your master's, but you feel the Lord calling you to jump back into classes. We have a doctoral minister or doctorate program now, doctor of ministry and education. We've got something for everyone. And I'm glad you mentioned TMI, Truth Ministries, Truth Matters Institute, because it is a free resource. Some of you may know and some of you may not know, and we'll drop the link in there as well. And let me make a note to do that unless somebody is listening and want to do that for me. Go ahead and pop it in there. But you've covered everybody. I appreciate your being here with us today. The talk on relational mentorship and connection is super, super helpful. And I know that will be helpful to the community as well.
Yeah, sure. If we could ask every single person who's listening to this live or who listen to it later, what was some of the pivotal moments in their life, I guarantee you most of them would talk about someone who
Yeah,
invested in them. And so
that's
we
right.
just want to do the same to the next
Yeah,
generation.
to be that person. Yeah, that's good. Well, thanks for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you
having me.
thank you to the community for popping in, and we are so grateful that you took the time to join us today. If you are one of those who wants to jump back into classes, we as a team are waiting for your call. We are excited to walk with you and join with you during this journey. Our team is ready for you to message us, give us a call. We hope to help you out. Next Monday, same time, we'll see you. We'll save you a seat.
Okay, thanks, Sherry. Bye,
Bye.
guys.